My first pick is going to be...
Son of a...
That was all of our first pick.
That's why I wanted
100% all of our first
All
pick.
three of us wanted it.
Welcome to Backseat Directing.
We talk about movies, TV shows, comics, and more.
We're your hosts,
Andrew.
and Aaron.
And today with our guest, Zach.
We post new episodes every Monday and Thursday.
And today we are going to be doing our movie trilogy draft.
Dun dun dun. 3, 2, 1, action. Zach, welcome back to the set. We just had you last week.
Glad to be back so soon.
I like this quick turnaround that we got going on.
I agree.
I'm less excited to have him back. He's always trying to take control of my microphone, and I have to share my microphone. He doesn't bring his own microphone.
Yeah, actually this week was really annoying. So we did buy Zach a microphone, and we just couldn't get it to hook up. And
for the audio reasons, we have the microphone set up. It's just difficult to.
Yeah, we just need
the recording
better technology, and it's very frustrating and annoying. But we'll get there eventually. Right now, Zach and Andrew have to share, so Andrew's a little salty. Also, Zach was kind of taking a little peek at his list here, you know. But hey, it's kind of like if we're playing cards, you know. And when I'm playing cards with my wife, sometimes she'll hold her cards way out in front of her. You know, and if they're there,
who am I
you can look, right?
It's your obligation to not look at it. I hold you guys to a higher moral
But if they're
standard.
basically showing me her cards, it's hard not to look. So
I really didn't see it. I know you keep it on the side, and
we'll see
on the other side.
We'll see based on who you draft.
all right, so today we're doing a trilogy draft, and the way that's going to work is we can draft any movies that have 3 consecutive movies that are all part of the trilogy. Now, if there is more than 3 movies, then we're only counting the full trilogy. Okay, so if there's 4 movies, only the first 3 count. Okay?
Okay.
So you can't pick the last 3.
Yeah, it has to be a new trilogy at some point in time. It can't be.
It's got to be its own set of 3 movies.
They might have put out a 4th or a 5th, but at one point it was a complete trilogy.
What if they put out 4, 5, and 6? Can I choose 4, 5, and 6?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's a complete trilogy.
Yeah, if that story is together, then yes, yeah. All
so I'm going to grab a randomizer here from the internet.
While Aaron does that, I'm going to explain a little bit more about the draft. We are going to do our draft as we have done previously in the snake draft fashion. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 3 picks again, 2, 1, 1 picks again, and so on. We are each going to draft 5 trilogies.
Correct.
So we're going to go back and forth until we're all done choosing. And at the end, we're going to kind of discuss, we might discuss a little bit more in depth about the trilogies we picked. And we're going to ask our audience as well to vote on who you thought has the best trilogies. Comment letting us know who you thought had the best collection of 5 trilogies. Comment what trilogies we might have missed or what your favorite is.
Yeah, exactly. We did like you said, a movie fight scene draft with Zach back all the way in episode 7. So now we're approaching 40 plus. So we've come a long way since Zach was first on the podcast, and what better way to celebrate than doing another draft? So
let's do it.
You guys ready to see who goes first?
Yeah.
Born ready.
All right. Zach, if you had to pick, which place would you want for this one?
I think for this one specifically, I would pick first. I would want to pick first.
Andrew?
I want to be first because there's just too much hot stuff on the table.
Same. All right, so the first spot is a very coveted spot, and here we go. Drum roll, please. In third, we have Andrew.
Oh, the double pick, though.
In first, we have Zach Cook.
There we go.
Which means I pick second. So Zach has early advantage by picking that first pick. Zach, what do you got?
So my first pick is going to be the Dark Knight Trilogy.
Son of a...
That was all of our first
That's
pick.
why I wanted
100%
I
all
knew
of our
everyone,
first
All
pick.
three of us wanted it, and that
I knew that was going to happen.
He did look at my list.
You can tell from that one.
No, I'm sure you would have picked it. Well,
The Dark Knight trilogy I think is at the top of all of our lists for
Yeah, definitely.
for a lot of
most of
deserving
these.
reasons.
Yeah.
And even if it wasn't like, because we're not picking our favorite trilogies, we're picking like the best trilogies, you know, and
Which I think to me are the same thing. But go on.
not always. It's
To
like
me,
I would probably prefer to watch some of the other trilogies over the Dark Knight trilogy
Just
some of the times. You know,
just to explain what I mean before you disagree. What I'm saying is because I'm always right, the ones that are my favorite are also the best.
This guy.
You notice how my
This
first
guy.
pick was The Dark Knight and you guys both also wanted that? Because I'm always right.
because it's such an iconic trilogy, it
It
makes
sure
your
is.
list leveled up. All right.
Dynamite performances in all the movies.
It's the sixth highest grossing trilogy of all time. And the movies, respectively, on IMDb have Batman Begins at an 8.2, The Dark Knight at a 9.0, and The Dark Knight Rises at 8.5. So they have an average of like a 8.6 of their rating, which is really high across three movies.
Yeah. All right. I guess I go now, huh? There's so many.
It's all downhill from that pick.
So many choices.
There's still, I think the first round is hot. The first round, there's a lot of top tier picks. The Dark Knight was my favorite, but we still have chances to steal some of the greatest trilogies of all time. I don't think it's
Yeah. And there's some out there that I haven't seen all the movies to, so I'm trying to pick the ones that I have.
Yeah, I did the same.
You know, that way I have a fair opinion into them. But I'm gonna go with Jurassic Park for
Thank
my trilogy.
goodness. Oh my gosh. I was so worried you were going to take my first pick, and now I feel a lot safer in the seat I'm sitting in. Jurassic Park was on there, but way down my list as like a backup pick. No, because Jurassic Park 1 and 3 are great, but I don't think Jurassic Park 1 carries the whole trilogy. Jurassic Park 1 is one of my top 10 movies of all time, but 2 I don't really enjoy, and 3 is like good.
So your Dark Knight trilogy made $43 million more than Jurassic Park, and it's basically all off the back of the first Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park made a lot of
And you are saying Jurassic Park, not Jurassic World, right?
Oh yeah,
Oh, no.
absolutely.
He's like, I want to slap you for even thinking I was picking
Jurassic World? Those aren't even movies. Get out of here.
Hey, there's a lot of money in that. I mean, there's an audience for it. But yeah, no, I agree. You made a smart pick. Jurassic, that was on my list. Jurassic Park, not Jurassic World.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know what your first
I
pick
liked
is.
What'd you say?
I know what your first pick
My
is.
first pick at this point is obvious.
Yeah.
It's got to be. So I'm going third. I get 2. My very first pick is going to be the Star Wars original trilogy.
Yeah.
So we're talking A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. It's the trilogy, really to begin all trilogies. Nobody did it the way that they did it before. Huge multi-billion-dollar franchise that George Lucas ended up selling for like $4 billion. Where does it rank on here? Because they're older movies, it doesn't rank as high. Money's a little different back then, but it made $1.8 billion as a trilogy in theaters worldwide, and it's the 9th highest grossing trilogy of all time. And it's a really, really phenomenal set of movies. Their influence on the sci-fi genre as a whole is like very strongly felt to this day, and they're obviously still making new movies.
All right.
Oh, my
Your
other
next
pick. Oh, yeah, I get 2 picks. So let me just go right down my list. My second pick, I'm going to go with the Lord of the Rings franchise. So the original Lord of the Rings movies, Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King. You're keeping track of who we all have?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Aaron's so good for that. Aaron's the man, making sure the wheels don't fall off this podcast. But Lord of the Rings is so
producer.
good. Groundbreaking work by Peter Jackson, directing all 3 movies. Unlike the Harry Potter franchise, we have different directors. This is one person's vision, and it's a perfect, complete story throughout. The movies are incredibly highly rated, and they're the second highest grossing trilogy of all time, just before $2.99 billion as a franchise, as a trilogy. It spawned a trilogy of additional movies, and their groundbreaking work with like the scale of the world they created, filming in New Zealand, doing these huge epic battles, combining practical effects with like actual people in prosthetic makeup for orcs and things like that with special effects. It's a magical fantasy world that I think in a way hasn't been touched to this day in terms of like world building.
I like it. Good, solid picks.
So that goes
Aaron.
back to Aaron.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure I'm keeping track.
Yeah, snake draft. So Zach starts out. I get the middle spot. You get the end twice. I get the middle again, and then Zach, you'll get 2 after this.
Yeah. We'll just do a recap of who we all have at the very end. That way it doesn't get redundant.
Exactly. I feel like there's a bunch of good options out there, and it's kind of annoying that I only get 1 pick at a time.
Not to brag, but
I'm going to go with the Bourne Trilogy.
yeah, have that one down with your name next to it. I figured you were going to want that one.
Yeah, these movies were a big part of my teenage years growing up. I really love spy movies, and it kind of became a part of my identity as I was a teenager. You know, I was always thinking of like, where are the exits? And I was a paranoid little guy for no reason.
It's so funny because we talked about that before, and it's
Yeah.
so funny that.
And I would like be sitting on the ground or whatever on a next to a wall, and like I'd have my phone where I could see the reflection behind me. You know,
I know that
I was just thinking that I was all cool. You know,
Pretty slick.
thinking of all
Pretty
these
slick.
spy things. You know,
I know that the bartender's left-handed and knows how to handle himself. I know that there's a gun behind the bar. At this altitude, I could run flat out for 2.5 miles before my hands would start shaking. Why do I
Exactly.
know all that, but I don't know who I am?
yeah,
Oh,
that was
such a good movie.
basically me as a kid. No big
Wake up
deal.
in the morning, I forgot who I am.
No big deal.
No, that's a strikingly original turn on a movie, and I was talking to somebody about it recently. How like I just watched a spy movie that I thought was like kind of a basic spy movie, no real twists and turns.
It was me, and we were talking about The Great Man.
Yeah, The Great Man
Yeah.
I feel like is pretty surface level, but the Bourne Identity series with the loss of his memory and like trying to figure out who he is very unique and special. And I haven't.
Yeah, there's
I
a lot
watched-
of depth to the character.
I watched him a lot as a kid too.
Yeah. Zach,
All right.
you get 2 picks here, man.
2 picks. So my first pick is going to be the Avengers Trilogy.
Oof.
So, and I have a question on technicality. Can I go Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Endgame, or do I have to go Avengers 2012, Ultron?
I think based off our rules, if there's only 4, we said that you have to go with the first 3.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Because by the time there's a fourth movie, that first one already exists, making it more than a trilogy.
That's
So-
okay. I think Infinity
But-
War is...
Are we taking, or do we count them both as one since there are a part 1 and part 2?
I mean, we're just gonna hand him the win.
No, I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it. I'm not gonna be a stick in the mud.
Okay, so you got the Avengers
So
movie.
we'll say the
So
Avengers
insane.
Trilogy. And then my next one is going to be Kingsman.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, because the prequel. Yeah, I was like, that's a good pick. And I know
I love those movies. The Kingsman, and that's a spy movie too. And the flair that the Kingsman
Mhm.
has and the sophistication. Oh man, I love it.
heavily
The-
stylized action. And you know what I feel like it reminds me of is Watchmen. The like when they punch somebody and
yeah.
that style of action.
The church scene alone carries your trilogy there.
Yeah.
But are we not going to talk about the fact that he just got like 4 Avengers movies? That like that is got to be. It's not on the list here because like this is a list of like trilogies, and that's a little.
It's not like a
different.
traditional.
Yeah.
Any of the MCU movies
It
are
has
like
to be
your,
like the highest grossing though. If
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Avengers Endgame made like the second
Like
most
$2
amount of money any movie's ever made.
I think it made $2 billion.
Yeah, over.
Can I pick from the future and pick Avatar?
Avatar. That's gonna. Oh my goodness! I thought that too when we were
Get
playing
all
for this
3
episode.
of those.
But yeah, man, I can't believe you just got so many Avengers movies in the tank.
Yeah.
I don't. Oh man, that's tough.
All right. I guess it's my turn again, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go with. Man, there's a few more on here that I'd like to get. I'm gonna go with Pirates of the Caribbean. And we were talking about that a lot in our other episode, our character design episode. And I think that's a strength of this, but then also this trilogy has one of, if not the best castings in all of film, with Johnny Depp
Johnny Depp
as
is
Jack Sparrow. You know,
I just recently rewatched the Pirates movies.
yeah, they're good. The first one I've seen so many times; it's so good. And then the technology behind it too, definitely very advanced. Ahead of its times, like the tentacles and all that stuff. Like
Yeah, we did.
I
just
might
talk
be
about it.
I might be misremembering this fact, but I think I just saw something recently that said that Pirates 3 was the most expensive movie ever made.
I think you're right, and I think
Yeah.
part of the reason is
They had to pay Johnny Depp. No.
yeah, no, I think that is part of the
Well,
reason.
another part of the reason it's really difficult financially and physically to film on water. Like there was a lot of issues when they filmed Jaws, and they pulled it off, and that's also an earlier time. But it is just difficult to film on water.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pirates movies are fantastic.
You can't have the shots shaking like with the sway of the ocean in a big budget blockbuster movie. So there's a lot of complications with it.
Yeah.
That's a top tier pick. I
Okay.
don't feel like the third one's as strong, but I love the first two.
Yeah, I think I think some trilogies, a lot of trilogies, like there's kind of like one movie
weak
that
moment.
really holds it up. You know, like even with The Dark Knight, even if all the movies are good, like The Dark Knight is the movie that's like made the franchise what it is. You know, and Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, Curse of the Black Pearl, is that movie for this franchise.
I might argue that it's the second one. Honestly, the trilogy you have has two really strong movies.
Yeah.
I would say
My favorite one is the first one.
for Jurassic Park, it's the first Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah, for sure.
And for Star Wars, I'd say it's Empire.
Yeah. Andrew, you get 2 picks.
Yeah, and
My
I've
goodness.
been
I don't like being in the middle.
I've been sitting here debating.
These are your last 2 picks, right?
No,
No, he's only has 2 so far.
I have 3.
Oh, okay, so
So
this would be
I'll
3
have
and
one more
4.
pick after this.
Gotcha.
I think the 2 that are most likely to be stolen from me are the ones that I'll pick. Oh man, it's so tough to decide. I'm gonna go with Back to the Future, which I know I'm gonna take that one. The other one's the one that I'm debating. So Back to the Future 1 through 3, like they just throughout 3 movies jump back and forth throughout history, and it's so much fun going to the past, the future, and then going back to the Wild West. I think that Marty McFly is a super special main character, and what they did with him just made him so lovable, like without making him the cool guy. Like he's has a little bit of nervousness to him, but he's so much fun and so lovable as a main character. This is like one of the best 80s movies of all time.
Iconic,
Yeah,
for
the
sure.
third one,
Everyone's
yeah.
heard of.
The third one
Back
came
to
out in
the Future.
1990. So yeah, these movies were made all across the 80s, 1985 to 1990, and they're iconic. I mean, Back to the Future, where we're going, we don't need roads. Like iconic lines, iconic wardrobe, and the actors pulled it off so well. Dr. Emmett Brown is so much fun to see on screen. So
Everyone knows what a DeLorean is because of this movie.
Everyone knows
popularized the
Marty
car.
McFly.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool. I love that they play with the past and the future. And the title is even a fun play on words, like Back to the Future. So it's a great
Isn't
time.
it cool that we are now past the future of that?
Yeah,
future?
isn't that wild? Doesn't look how it looked in Back to the Future too, though.
It's wild, isn't it?
But my
Last one.
other pick is the one that I'm really struggling with. I'm struggling between 2 separate superhero trilogies.
Yeah, what are they?
Couldn't tell you.
Smart.
Zach, let
Good
me know
text.
what are they.
What I'm going to go with, solely because the third movie in this trilogy is so much stronger than the third movie of the other trilogy, is I'm going with the Captain America trilogy.
Ah!
I knew that one was gonna get picked.
Yeah, that one was on
Definitely
my
on my
list too.
list.
I think it's kind of cheaty because the third Captain America Civil War really should be called Avengers Civil War. But such a strong trilogy. I mean, Winter Soldier, I think, like you picked it as your number 1 movie in the MCU, and I think there's a strong argument for it being up there in the number 1, definitely top 3. And then Captain America Civil War is your favorite movie in the MCU, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's up there. It fluctuates from time to time, but it's definitely top 3 any given day.
I think that Civil War is the perfect culmination of everything that led up to that moment, of the tensions that we're building with the Sokovia Accords and everything.
I have a question to distract my opponents here.
Yeah,
Who is right, Iron Man or Captain America?
Iron Man.
Captain America.
We're gonna have a debate. We're gonna have a debate episode on this.
Definitely Captain America.
While you
At a
guys are
later
knocking
time.
each other out, I'm gonna go and swoop in all the rest of the picks.
But yeah, Civil War is such a phenomenal movie with like some of the best action in the MCU. Plus, like the emotional stakes. Han's
They balance all the characters
villain.
perfectly.
Yeah, and the big airport fight, like the introduction of Spider-Man. So I'll digress on that point, but that is such a good movie.
I don't know what to do. That was my next one.
Reevaluate. Improvise it.
Oh,
Well,
man.
you guys are making me glad that I picked it.
What was your other one that you had?
There's still one more pick on the
But
board.
what was your other one?
I won't say.
It was worth a shot, I guess.
Starts with L. I just picked a random letter to
Nice,
confuse them.
nice.
Lord of the Rings. Just kidding. You already have that. I'm gonna go with.
I want to pick more than 5 now that we're
I
so
know.
deep into it.
I
Because I feel like
know.
I feel like I'm showing like
There's a
disrespect to the ones I'm not picking.
Yeah.
I feel like this one's more personal to me, which is not like a good like representation of like just picking ones that you like the most. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Wolverine trilogy.
So
I like it.
what does that follow? X-Men Origins and then Wolverine, then Logan?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Logan by far
So-
the strongest.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I agree, but the other two are very good in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I love the appearance of Wade Wilson in X-Men Origins. Is the best depiction we've got so far.
I disagree with that.
Now
but-
it's iconic.
I like, and I'm forgetting his name, but Will.i.am has a role in that.
Oh yeah, Wisp.
Yes.
I
think
love
it's
him in that
Wisp.
movie.
Yeah.
I love him
He's
in that
great.
movie.
I like that movie a lot too.
I know it gets a lot
Because
of
I
people
watched
say-
it a lot when I was a kid growing up, you know.
Yeah.
We're all just complimenting each other's picks right now. So I want to take this moment to say that X-Men Origin or Wolverine Origins and Wolverine, while fun to watch, are trash, garbage movies.
I wouldn't say
Well,
Wolverine
that's-
is trash. Wolverine's a good movie.
I've never seen it a second time, but I had no interest in seeing
I've
it.
seen
second
it like
time.
4 or
I
5
love that
times.
movie.
Yeah.
I like that it's in Japan,
Wolverine.
which is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Logan is so leaps and bounds better than those other movies. Carries that.
I agree that it's a lot better, but the other two I think are still really good.
Yeah, James Mangold directing, like
Like you
beautiful
might be able to
Logan.
talk me into Wolverine Origins being not that good, but you can't for Wolverine and Logan.
You should watch the Wolverine again. There's a scene like where he has all these like arrows in him.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that scene.
It's
I
such
remember
a-
it.
yeah.
With all the ropes tied to him.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that movie is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really cool. Thank you,
I
Zach.
love the Wolverine trilogy too, man. Don't
Thank
worry.
you.
Zach, just on the spot, name a movie you don't like.
Hold on, I have to think.
I digress.
I do like a lot of movies, but you know,
You're just a
I don't like Social Network.
happy-go-lucky guy.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you watch it?
That movie's
all the way
trash,
through.
Andrew.
Boring.
Trash.
Boring.
We're gonna cancel this podcast. A bare knuckle box set in the yard.
About to fall asleep right now just thinking of that movie. Oh my god.
You haven't seen it, have you?
I've seen it.
Boring.
I'm pretty sure you guys forgot
I actually like the movie.
that you haven't seen the movie.
No, I actually like. But don't tell Andrew I like it.
I'm sure it's like fun.
It's okay.
I've
It's
only
not
seen
my
it once.
favorite.
I don't know.
I love it.
I hate it when Andrew is like, when we critique other movies, and he's like, "Ah, man, this movie's just so slow." Girl, you love Social Network.
Social Network isn't slow. Something's always happening. All right, so
Zach, you have 2 picks. This is gonna round out your 5. You have the Dark Knight trilogy, Avengers trilogy. Kind of unfair, but we got you. The Kingsman trilogy, solid pick. I love those
you have
movies.
2 chances to wreck my last pick. I'm curious how you're gonna do it.
Hold on, I'm referencing my list really quick because some things have been picked up.
I feel like the first place, especially for this draft, is by far the best position to be in because you get the number 1 trilogy that all of us were going to pick.
You get to come back and pick twice.
And then you get to pick twice, 2 times, you know, which I think is very valuable. I don't know. I don't like picking second. I feel like I'm missing out by not being able to pick 2 at a time, you know, and like swing it back twice.
Honestly, you have the Dark Knight.
He does. I don't.
So I'm gonna
I
go
picked second.
with
I keep forgetting the order.
for my 4th pick the new Planet of the Apes movies.
Oh, that's such a good pick. Such
I don't
a
even
good
have that
pick.
written down. That's so good.
That is the 10th highest grossing trilogy of all time. $1.68 billion movies. They revolutionized special effects with that movie with the mocap. Andy Serkis kills it. Also love Gary Oldman in the second one. And every movie has like a flagship actor, which I shouldn't be talking up your movies. But
I
the
appreciate
first one, James Franco. Second one, Gary Oldman. Third one, Woody Harrelson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but James
Yeah.
Franco's trash, so your movies suck too.
I think those movies are awesome, and it's cool to see like Caesar and the evolution of the apes and stuff.
There's a huge development not only for Caesar throughout the trilogy, because it's a whole trilogy arc of Caesar. It's a huge development for the entire species of the apes and for like the literal planet like developing into like being ruled by these other creatures.
I really need to rewatch those
Oh,
movies.
they're
It's
so
been
good.
so
Yeah.
long.
I've only seen the
I
third
love
one
the first one.
They're
one
not
time,
rated
but
that
it's-
high.
It's awesome.
Their average rating's like a 7.2, 7.3, because I looked across it on IMDb when I was considering it.
Man, so good.
All right, for my fifth pick, and I think this one is kind of like more personal to me, like Aaron was saying about his Wolverine trilogy. And maybe it's not as highly revered with everybody, but for me, I'm gonna say Rush Hour,
That's a good pick.
the Rush Hour trilogy.
A comedy, we don't really have a comedy so far, so that's I really like that pick.
Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan are like that trilogy, man.
Jackie Chan is one of the most talented human beings to ever live.
Yes.
For sure.
Like he has like operatic singing albums that sell really well.
Has Jackie Chan and Tom Cruise ever met in a movie?
They should, because those are the two like
They're just like one-upping each other in every scene. Like,
Yeah.
how epic would that be?
Jackie jumps across a gap between buildings. Tom jumps across a bigger gap.
Jumps between mountains. We just watched a clip yesterday on TikTok of him for the last Mission Impossible
Dead
movie
Reckoning.
where he's just going on a motorcycle, jumping off a cliff, and then parachuting down. Crazy.
And then you can see videos online of Jackie Chan like jumping across buildings or from a building to a crane or something.
Have you seen that one where he jumps? It's in like this mall or something, and he jumps off this balcony and slides down, and he does it all with no rope,
Yeah, I think that he got
and he's like super high in the air. Yeah, I think he
the one where he got injured.
yeah.
Yeah, there's
But-
a bunch of lights on the pole, right? And
Yeah.
he's like breaking the whole way down. He like really damaged his hands.
So
doing it.
crazy that he did that with no rope. Like,
Yeah, there's a
Wow.
really good interview with him where they talk about like how nervous he was to do it, and he's like sitting there waiting for them to tell him when he's ready.
yeah.
And he's like, and there was a signal, and he accidentally gave the signal, like wipe his brow or whatever, doing something they thought it was a signal. They started rolling, and he's like, well, film is expensive, so like I have to go, and I just threw myself into it, and like that's how he ended up getting hurt. Like,
So crazy.
Wild. Okay, so my last pick here, I have Jurassic Park, the Bourne Trilogy, Pirates of the Caribbean, Wolverine, and for my last one, kind of like Zach's, where he picked Planet of the Apes, and it was like revolutionary of the technology that they were using, and then also he went a different direction, picking a comedy with Rush Hour. I'm going to go kind of in both of those directions with the same movie, and I got the Toy Story trilogy.
Oh, okay.
such a good pick. Toy Story 3 is one of the only three of the only animated movies to get nominated for Best Picture.
They was the first like CGI animated movie to ever be made. When did that come out? 95, I believe. So I grew up on this movie, all three of them. You know, I remember when the third one came out like 10 years later or something, 15 years later, and I remember being super excited for that. You know, and it's like, Disney had an excellent strategy. You know, release the first two, wait like a decade, and then release another one. So all the kids want to go see it, but then all the adults want to go see it. You know, so they had a great strategy. And then it's also so far, anyways, it's the only animated trilogy that we have. So that's pretty cool. Andrew, what do you got for your fifth pick?
All right, so I have the original Star Wars trilogy, Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future, the Captain America trilogy, and for my final pick, it was really hard to decide, but I want to get an animated one in there as well. I'm going with How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, solid.
Is actually, surprisingly, the 11th highest grossing trilogy of all time, even though it's animated and marketed mostly towards kids.
Andrew only likes financially successful movies.
Well, the movies that I like,
He doesn't like art.
the movies
art
that
of movies.
The movies that I like.
He just
because-
went down the highest grossing trilogy list, and he's like, all right, that's what I'm gonna pick.
Because I'm always right, the public agrees with me and buys
Hey,
tickets
hey.
to see these movies.
Oh my gosh.
How to Train Your Dragon has like, along with Toy Story, I will say, has some of the best emotional arc in any trilogy. Those two animated movies I think are the two best to tell the story of, like, in this case, Toothless and Hiccup along the stages of three movies. You know, like Hiccup losing his father and going from like a scared kid, you know, the runt of the village to this person who leads everyone and who everyone looks to in every situation, who dives headfirst into dangerous situations, would sacrifice himself for his friends and family, and most of all Toothless at the drop of a hat. And he is so brave and so strong, and I love him as a main character, and I love his relationship with the Night Fairy Toothless.
Yeah, solid pick. My cat Alex looks like a Night Fury.
I know you're proud.
So.
You're proud of it. The like, how hard is it to get 3 of these movies to work? And like,
I don't know if I've seen the third one.
the third one's so good. And I think they honestly almost feel like they get better every time.
What's the one where like the dad finds the mom again?
The second one, because the dad dies in the second one.
Oh, okay.
So
that one's really
the dad is voiced.
I don't think I've seen the third
Spoilers.
one.
The dad is voiced by Gerard Butler, and the main character is voiced by Jay Baruchel, and they do
Awesome Gerard Butler.
such a good job. Oh my god! Like these are like animated movies. Like these are movies that pull tears out of people.
Without spoiling things, what's the third one about? Because I might have seen it.
There's a lady Toothless.
There's a female Night Fury. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I've seen it.
though.
I don't think I've seen it.
There's kind of this guy that is like hunting dragons and taming them and using them so it's kind of the battle between Hiccup and their people kind of live in unison with the dragons at this point. They just kind of fly around their village and live in harmony. So it's going against the conqueror who is trying to enslave the dragons.
Sounds like the worst.
It's epic. It's super epic. It's such a good trilogy ending.
I don't know. I'd have to watch the trailer or something. They all kind of blend together. I can definitely recognize the first one and what happened in that one.
Yeah.
I think the second one, third one are blending for me. All right, Zach, you picked first. Why don't you go through your list, say what you got, and then I'll go through my list, say what I got, and then Andrew, you'll finish it up, and then we'll kind of talk about our lists a little bit and whatnot.
So for my first pick, I had the Dark Knight trilogy. My second pick was the Avengers set of movies. And then my third pick was the Kingsman trilogy. My number 4 pick was Planet of the Apes. And then my 5th pick was the Rush Hour series. I wish that we could pick more. There's other movies that haven't been brought up that I definitely, other trilogies that I would like to add to my list.
I also have at least 2 more that I want so badly on my list.
So my 5, I have Jurassic Park, the Bourne Trilogy, Pirates of the Caribbean, Wolverine, and Toy Story. Andrew, your 5?
My 5 is Star Wars, the original trilogy, Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future, Captain America, How to Train Your Dragon, and Captain America. No, I already said that one. Who am I missing?
I kind of zoned out. You have Star Wars, the original trilogy, Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future, Captain America, How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, I said them all. Okay.
And you
Never
can't
mind.
count.
I said all 5.
So you wanted a 6th.
I do want a 6th.
You're just trying to sneak in another one. Which one didn't I say?
Maybe you guys
Why don't
want
we just do a spur of the moment bonus round?
Another one?
We each get one more pick. No snake, just one more pick.
Does this go into our calculation of people voting? So we have a list of 6?
Well, yeah, we'll let them pick based on the total list.
Oh, okay. So, Zach?
We'll have a good lightning round. Let me reference my list one more time.
I know who I'm picking. If you need to look at your list.
No, you can't pick. You're third. You stay in third.
There's 2 super obvious picks that are still on the board that have been neglected.
Oh man, there's 2. I'm between 2 right now. I think I'm gonna say the Spider-Man Homecoming trilogy for my bonus one.
Interesting. All
It's a
right.
good pick.
It is definitely a good pick. I mean, you can't deny that the third one is pretty incredible, especially the third one. I think all 3 are really great.
So you basically just picked the MCU.
Cheers.
7 MCU movies.
No, the other one that I was thinking about picking instead of the Spider-Man.
Well, don't say it. We're about to pick.
I know. I was gonna say it's not part of the MCU.
Well, you get to
That's
pick
all I was
next,
gonna
though.
say.
All right. What were you gonna pick?
It's like
Okay. Let's see here. There's 2 obvious ones that I see haven't gotten picked. I'm gonna pick The Matrix.
That wasn't my pick. So I think I kind of slipped through
I know which one you're gonna
the
pick.
cross
I
there.
think.
Yeah, it's still tough. Let's see. I only have 1 set of Marvel movies on here. I think even still, I'm going to go with Indiana Jones.
Ooh, that's not who I thought you were going to pick.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade. I think before they made Kingdom of Crystal Skull, this was a really good trilogy that could have just like survived on its own. And you've got a great cameo appearance in the third movie from James Bond, Sean Connery, and those movies, like possibly the most epic movie score of all time, which I'd put it just behind Jurassic Park. But John Williams doing both. John Williams absolutely created one of the most iconic scores of this movie, and it's classic action adventure. It is the blueprint for what movies do when they make an action adventure movie, or when they create a character that they want to be the cool action character. They go to Indy. That is where people draw from nowadays. They created inspiration for decades of films.
What, out of all the movies that we've picked, we each picked 6, so there's 18 trilogies out there. Which one do you think people are going to say, why didn't you guys pick this trilogy?
Obviously, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, which...
It was on my list.
I can't believe... I wanted to scoop it up so bad, but it was like between that and Indiana Jones, and then I was thinking about it too when I picked How to Train Your Dragon, but I wanted an animated pick, and I cannot believe we did not put that on anybody's list. I thought you had it at the end.
Yeah, I went with the Homecoming trilogy because in the third movie, spoiler alert, you get to kind of see the culmination of all the other Spider-Man movies, and you get to see all 3 Spider-Man men interacting on screen. And the Sam Raimi trilogy is amazing too. I love it, but I think this one kind of emotionally makes you feel more nostalgic because you get to see all your Spider-Men.
Yeah,
you know?
I know this isn't everybody's maybe opinion. Everyone doesn't think this as strongly as I do, but the third movie really killed the Sam Raimi trilogy for me because I think the third movie is terrible.
It's interesting.
I really don't like the third movie. The first 2 are phenomenal. The first one, especially to me, is like a movie that I watched over 100 times with my grandfather growing up. I would just ask to watch that movie every day, and I loved that first movie.
Yeah.
See, I don't have that much of attachment to those movies. Any of them.
If you didn't watch them growing up, it's different.
I don't know. I just don't think they're very good. Any of them.
Wow, I'm not used to somebody having a more controversial opinion than me.
Yeah, I don't think you not liking 3 is controversial. I think that's pretty universal.
I think I'm saying hating it as much as I do is. I think most people would say it's bad.
Gotcha.
But
and you have heat for it.
I think it's pretty irredeemable.
I think one of the trilogies that's out there that maybe surprised people that we didn't pick, but it doesn't surprise me because I don't think I've ever heard you guys ever really talk about it, is The Godfather. Isn't that a trilogy?
I have it on my list. It is a trilogy, and its ratings are 9.2 for the first one, 9.0 for the second one. The third one's kind of universally viewed as like really bad. It's like the Spider-Man 3 of dramatic movies, and it has a 7.6. Those are really great movies. Al Pacino, I mean, they changed film with making those movies as well. And Al Pacino gives arguably the best performance of all time as Michael Corleone in the first 2. And the character development, but just in the first one alone for him is so incredible. But yeah, I haven't seen the third one, so I didn't want to pick it for that reason. And they're a little slow for my pace, maybe even overrated. I'd rather watch Goodfellas than Godfather Part 1. That's basically the way I always say it.
Yeah, I haven't seen The Godfather.
A trilogy that I wanted to get if we had more spots was the Mummy trilogy.
Should we do
my
7th?
I love the Mummy. Dun, dun, dun. The Mummy trilogy, like you said that you watched Spider-Man 1 with your grandpa all the time. I watched the Mummy one with my grandpa all the time.
I watched it with my grandma a lot, the first 2.
I love the Mummy. And the third one came out pretty significantly after the first 2 came out, and maybe people don't like the third one, but I like the third one a lot because I was still like kind of a kid when it came out.
But that's what I'm talking about with Indy is Brendan Fraser's character in The Mummy is like clearly from the blueprint of the Indiana Jones blueprint. Like, and he's great. I love him.
Yeah,
I would not change him.
I love Brendan Fraser in those movies. He's
charismatic.
Oh yeah, Ricochet O'Connell.
Oh god, he's so good. He's hilarious and he's badass as well.
I have a question for you two.
Yes.
Not taking into account your own list, so only looking at the other 2 lists. who has the best pick? Like, what is the best pick not on your list? And then what is the sleeper pick that was not on your list? So, Zach, on mine and Andrew's, best pick. And then which
Can
one
you
was
hit
the
me
sleeper
with
pick?
a refresher?
Here's my list right here.
Let's see. Okay, so Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future, Captain America, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Indiana Jones.
And then I have Jurassic Park, Bourne, Pirates of the Caribbean, Wolverine, Toy Story, and The Matrix.
Captain America, I think, is the best pick.
Funny because I got it.
Aaron, can you say yours one more time? I'm sorry.
4th.
Jurassic Park, the Bourne Identity Trilogy, Pirates of the Caribbean, Wolverine, Toy Story, and The Matrix.
And the sleeper, I would say, it's kind of hard to pick the sleeper. I haven't seen every movie in all of your guys' trilogies you picked, but I have seen How to Train Your Dragon 1 and 2, and I wasn't thinking of that one, so I'm going to say that's the sleeper pick. But I haven't seen the third movie, full disclosure.
That's a good one.
I think the best pick in Zach's list is definitely The Dark Knight, which is, I think, the best pick across the board. I think the best pick in your list is actually Toy Story 3, which came super late on your list. And I think that's also the sleeper pick on your list. I really like I say Toy Story 3, but I really like the Toy Story franchise. I love the first one. It's like Spiderman, a movie I watched 100 times growing up.
Yeah, I feel like the best pick on one of your guys' list is The Avengers. And you kind of snuck in a third or a fourth movie in there, which that's great. I would much rather watch The Avengers than The Dark Knight. And then the sleeper pick, I would probably say, was the Planet of the Apes. So both of mine going towards our guest, Zach.
Thank you.
So
yeah, I had considered every.
Your How to Train Your Dragon is probably the next sleeper pick that I didn't
wasn't
consider
thinking
either.
that, but also I haven't seen the third one, so I was trying not to think of trilogies rather, that I hadn't seen all of them.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard for me to consider a sleeper pick because I had pretty much considered every movie that was discussed today at one point or another. I did a lot of research. I wanted to have a good list. I thought of some other movies that we kind of snubbed, and one of them is the original X-Men trilogy, which I think is really, really phenomenal. And I mean, none of us picked Star Wars prequels or sequels either.
Yeah, I think it's Star Wars was on my list too, but I think that the original trilogy is the best trilogy.
Yeah.
But the best movie is Episode 3, in my opinion. But Episode 2 and 1. So it was why pick another Star Wars trilogy when you already picked the best one, for me at least.
Yeah. That's smart. I agree with that strategy.
Yeah.
Also, none of us picked the Iron Man trilogy as well.
Well, 3 kind of sucks.
3 does not suck.
Zach,
my opinion.
You found a movie that you don't like?
Yeah, I don't really like
Iron Man 3 is a fantastic
Wow,
film.
you don't like that movie?
Such a good movie.
What don't you like about it? This is some hot takes right here.
It's so funny.
There's a bit I don't like, but
Say it, spill it.
Episode 1 or episode I'm thinking Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, and most people say Iron Man 2 is the worst one, but I just strongly disagree. I don't like. I think what
Iron
I
Man
don't
2
like.
is the worst one.
What I think I don't like about Iron Man 3 is the focus that's on the kid. Why? I don't get any of that.
I wish they had built off of that, but I love the interaction. It's such a tried and true interaction of movies and shows like Joel and Ellie from Last of Us, or Kratos and Atreus, the adult with the kid protection dynamic.
Yeah, and I get it, but I think that movie would have been better if that kid wasn't in it. I think what they were we gotta show.
You don't want him in it at all. Just
we gotta
get him
show
out of
that
it.
Tony Stark is not just a man in the suit, and
Which he
isn't.
I'm glad they went
I think
that
it's
route.
kind of a dynamic development of his character, because how often is he ever around kids? So you kind of get to see him develop a little bit of a soft spot for someone outside of his normal
the villain's not
interactions.
compelling either.
So the villain is a disappointment for sure, building up the Mandarin like they did, and then a fast left turn to it just being a big joke. That was a disappointment for me too. And we did an episode on True Grit where the villain was talked up for the first 2 acts of the whole movie, and then the third movie they like pivoted again, you know, and kind of made him a little bit softer.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this, but I feel like True Grit did it much better than Iron Man 3 did.
I think if you look at it through the lens of the villain of Iron Man 3 being all of Tony's past actions haunting him, then it's kind of like a mirror to the first movie too. And like the way he used to treat people is the villain, the way he used to create these monstrosities is a villain, and then he's conquering himself in the movie by, you know, through the house party initiative and blowing up all those suits. It's a little bit more. I agree. Guy Pearce is kind of wasted on that because he's such a good actor.
Why did he just blow up all his suits though? He
It's
just
symbolic.
made
He
up
was-
a whole. He made a bunch of more after.
He was, yeah, but at that point, he was kind of telling Pepper that he was not going to be Iron Man anymore. Like, he got the surgery to remove the shrapnel from his chest, threw the arc reactor over. But Iron
Thank
Man 3 is
goodness
not
he
all
didn't
bad. Like, I think it's so cool, all the new suits that are designed. It feels so comic booky. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so that's really cool. And then the struggle that Tony Stark's facing and his anxiety, I think is handled really well in that movie.
His
So-
PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD. Hello, Alex.
So I have another trilogy that I think that we snubbed pretty badly, and that would be Transformers trilogy.
Oh my gosh! Why didn't I pick that? Can I trade mine out? Why didn't I think of that?
I wouldn't have picked it, but I think that's something other people would pick up on. But my question,
I love those movies.
I know you do.
Transformers 3 is fantastic. It's my favorite one by far.
Really, I like
Yes.
Transformers 1 the best.
I like Transformers 3 because it came out the same year. I like Transformers 3 more than the Avengers, the first Avengers, 2012.
What about Shrek?
Controversial opinion hours. That's a good. That's a good pick. Cars 1 through 3.
Yeah, Transformers though I really like them. I haven't seen though one of the new ones.
So my question for you guys is, what trilogy has the best improvement upon the first movie? What trilogy has the best sequel? Aside from The Dark Knight.
So like the second one or the third one that you're talking about? Like which one like constantly gets better?
Well, just which one improved upon the original, whether that's the
Second or the third?
You can pick second or third. I think The Dark Knight's too easy of an answer if we pick that one.
Yeah, it definitely is a pretty easy answer.
Let me kind of look through here. Well,
I think
I
I would say Captain America.
you just interrupted me.
Captain
Captain America's a good one.
I
That's a
think
good original idea.
so. I think Captain America 1 people have like problems with, but I think it's awesome.
Well, the second one's infinitely better. I feel
Okay,
it's
I see what
hard
you're
to
saying.
argue.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
It's not saying that.
And then the
first
third
one's
one
bad.
is even, in
Much
my
better,
opinion,
yeah.
even better than
Right,
the
it
Winter
continues to
Soldier.
come.
But the
I
Winter
think-
Soldier's awesome.
I think the Wolverine trilogy is one that constantly climbs. Like
Yeah.
each one is definitely better than the one before it.
I agree with that too, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, and then you've got Star Wars as well. So many movies on here with better. I think A New Hope is pretty weak compared to Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Hey, stop it, Alex.
Alex is munching up the whole set.
My little cat.
All right, what would you guys think? What do you guys think is one of your least favorite trilogies? If you had to name a trilogy you don't like,
On our list?
Just
like
in-
which
just-
one's our least
just
favorite
any
on our
trilogy.
list? The Thor trilogies.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, I know you
well,
hate those.
All four
Yeah.
of the movies.
All four of the.
I like the first one more than all the other ones.
I think Ragnarok was pretty good.
Sorry.
No, Ragnarok. I agree is a good movie.
2's like whatever. 4's pretty whatever too. Trying to think.
How about you? Do you got one?
Transformers
Transformers.
is
You
one of
don't
my
like at all?
is one of my least favorite trilogies. I just like the
There's-
first one.
There's trilogies
Crazy.
that I haven't watched, and I don't know. I feel like it's because maybe I wasn't as blown away by the first movie, but the Hangover trilogy, Hangover 1 is hilarious, but I never cared to watch Hangover 2 and 3.
Did there need to be two sequels?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Hollywood
can
wanted
agree with
money.
that.
John Wick, I've only seen the first one.
I've only seen the first one too.
So
Yeah, I've seen
and,
part
and,
of the
and John
second
Wick
one.
1 is awesome. It's so cool.
That's another one we didn't mention.
Yeah.
So
What's a movie that needs a trilogy? that's only had one.
I've always wished for more movies for A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which I don't think is like the most popular movie of all time. But what it does is it takes characters from classic books. So it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Dracula, like all these. So they form a team together, kind of like the Avengers, and fight. And it's not as cheesy as it sounds. Sean Connery leads it, and that movie ends on the note of like teasing a sequel. There never was one. That's a movie I always wanted there to be a trilogy for and never got it. That's the biggest answer for me.
Yeah. Mine, Man of Steel.
Yes,
That's a good one.
How have we not? Why is Shazam 2 coming out before Superman 2?
2013.
I know.
Almost 10 years ago.
But things are looking up.
Also, Amazing Spider-Man. That needs a third.
That would be amazing to get a third one of that.
Amazing.
There's another trilogy that we missed out on, but I haven't seen any of them. But I really want. It's on my watch list, and I can't remember the name. Each name of the movie is something different. He has multiple personalities.
Oh, Split. Glass.
Yes.
Twilight.
And Unbreakable.
Unbreakable.
Yeah, those ones are cool too. When Split was coming out, I watched the other two.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them, and I wanna. They're on my list.
I've seen Unbreakable multiple times, which I think is a really good movie. I just haven't seen Glass. But that's a really interesting trilogy with an interesting director, Shyamalan.
I lied. I only watched Unbreakable. I haven't seen Glass either.
It's a good movie. My question was kind of similar. My question was, what trilogy do you think you would want to have another movie to? So maybe it's like only a trilogy right now. And what would you want to see a fourth movie for?
See a fourth? What's your? You look like you have an idea of mine.
Well, technically, we're getting Captain America 4 anyway, so I won't say Captain America. I was thinking, though, another Captain America movie with Chris Evans. But I'm super excited to see Sam Wilson, Captain America, like actually in a movie. The series I thought was really cool because it builds up to him taking up the shield and becoming Captain America. Mm-hmm. Now I'm excited to see what he does as Captain America.
Yeah, I like how they did it that way. Instead of going into like a Captain America plotline, they just got us ready for New World Order.
Yeah.
That was
Which is nice because now we can start.
We don't have to
with like feet on the ground running, into Iron Man, into Captain America.
Yeah.
Off my list here, hear me out. I think what I could, and I hate unnecessary sequels, so I don't even like saying this, but if all the right people were on board, if they did a sequel to the Dark Knight trilogy,
I want to see another Dark Knight movie
with an old man Christian Bale, and they did a Batman Beyond movie.
Christian Bale did say the only way that he would do it is if Chris Nolan did it. So he's open to it, but like you said, all the right people have to be involved.
It has to be an old man. It has to be an old man Batman.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I think that would be really. I know I trash on this trilogy a lot, but it's only because you like it so much. I do enjoy this show. That would be a cool movie.
I personally think though that if they do a Batman Beyond movie, it should be Michael Keaton's Batman though, because he's already so like old looking, and in the Batman Beyond TV show, like I could buy that.
I'd rather have Christian Bale.
I could buy that.
Yeah, with the Dark Knight trilogy for sure. Why do we have to? Why is there so many Batmans?
I'd rather have Christian Bale in prosthetics, making him look older with still some physicality. Michael Keaton's gonna if he runs, it's gonna look like Samuel L. Jackson in Captain Marvel.
He's not old yet, dude. Oh, that is a good run. That is a really, really good old man run for a 30-something.
Yeah, they can de-age him digitally, but they can't. They can just stunt double.
I need to look this up. I don't remember him running back.
He's slow.
He looks like
that's because he's used to like force jumping and stuff.
Oh yeah, Mace Windu having to downplay it. But I really appreciate your guys' list. Last question actually this time. We'll each pick whose list we would pick if we couldn't pick our own. And unfortunately for Aaron, I would have to go with Zach's list.
Only because of one pick.
It really.
Well, I also have the Avengers movies. I
feel like Andrew doesn't care about those nearly as much. If I had the Avengers, Andrew, like if I switched, and you'd still pick his, right?
What are the other ones on your list?
Spider-Man.
See, he doesn't even know what else you have.
Yeah,
He's only picking it because of the Dark Knight.
I'd probably still pick his.
Planet of the Apes.
Like he has.
But I think I have all my
so
favorite ones besides
he has The Dark Knight, Pitch Perfect, Twilight, and all these other movies. High School Musical, and all these other movies.
How did we not pick that?
And you would still pick.
Oh yeah, no,
High School Musical is a good one.
He named a bunch of ones.
That is a good one. I would pick.
I'm biased.
Oh, it's close. I would probably rather watch all of Zach's picks than all of your picks. For that reason, I'll pick Zach's.
Yeah, but mine are so iconic.
Yeah, I think you picked good trilogies, but not necessarily movies that I would want to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach's is
Like you picked iconic trilogies that you probably have a really good list that would probably win in votes.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, I want to sit down and like spend the time actually watching these movies, I'd pick Zach.
If I had to label them, like you've probably got like an entertainment trilogy. Mine's like iconic, some older movies.
There too.
Well, that's entertainment still,
Yeah.
yeah, comedy entertainment. And then Aaron's, honestly, I feel like you have a lot of the like more unexpected picks. Like I feel like you have the more unique list, maybe.
Aaron, what are yours again? I should have wrote it down.
Bourne,
Jurassic
trilogy.
Park, Bourne, Pirates of the Caribbean, Wolverine, Toy Story, The Matrix.
I think I have to say Andrews because of Star Wars and Captain America.
Yeah.
Mainly. But
You guys aren't going off the whole list. You're only picking because of two.
I
or
know.
three.
But he doesn't feel
Or
as
one.
strong.
You're only picking for one.
I've never seen the Bourne
One
Trilogy.
character doesn't make a team. Okay, if you have a great quarterback and no one around him, it's not going to work. If you have, guys,
Your team's got like a lot of varsity players, but Zach's team has LeBron James.
Yeah.
oh man.
Sorry.
All right, guys, it's been fun. I think we should end this episode here because we could keep going and going and going. If we were allowed to, we would have drafted until we had 15 more on our list. So we're gonna end it now before we get too far into it. Andrew, do you have any closing thoughts?
Just to, again, thank our audience so much for listening. Thanks, Zach, for coming out and recording with us, taking time out of his busy schedule.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
Yeah, make sure you guys leave a comment down below on our YouTube channel and let us know which list is the best list as a collective, guys. All right, thanks for watching, and that's a wrap.